Welcome back to another episode of the Track Limits podcast. We're joined by Mikey and Feven, and we're here at Crater Club Studios, and Japan Grand Prix just finished, and we have a new constructor or back-to-back.
Yes.
Red
They
Bull.
did well.
They had an amazing year, which we're going to unpack. But before we do, let's run down the top 10. In P9 and P10, we have the Alpine duo of Gasly and Ocon. And in P8, we have Alonso. P7, Russell. P6, Sainz. P5, Hamilton. We'll unpack that battle. We have P4, Charles, another great performance by him. And the podium finishers, the McLaren duos. Let's
Round of
go.
applause.
Piastri with his
Yes.
first podium as a rookie. When was the last time we've seen someone pull that kind of strength? But we'll unpack also that. And then Norris and no other than Max Verstappen. Another great win by him. We'll
Max
play that.
Verstappen.
But what'd you guys think about the race, Mikey?
It was great.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. Max, again, I think you called it. You said last week you wanted him to get a 15-second lead or he'd win by 15 seconds. You couldn't have called that any better.
Wow. That was only half a promise, though. I expected Checo in P2, which
Yeah.
I don't know where he ended up.
That was, never mind.
Yeah.
No, thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a great track. A lot of overtakes between the front, the mid. A lot of crashes or chaos at the start, which then spiced it up. But think about the pit stops. 2 stops, 3 stops. There was a lot of different strategies. It was kind of hard to keep up with it when you didn't see the how many pit stops they take, and you're like, "Whoa, what's going on?"
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a very action-packed. It wasn't one where you're like, oh, they're cruising now for the next 20 laps, or I'll check back in, I'll go on my phone. It was very much, there was so much going on both at the front of the race. The
Front.
The first 5 laps.
The first 5 laps. The first turn, really, actually. No, there's just a lot of action throughout the entire race to the last lap, even with Sainz and Lewis going kind of toe-to-toe. So it was very entertaining. Not what I was hoping for a McLaren first, obviously.
You know, Lando's got the record now. I think he pipped Charles to it that he's got the most second places without a podium.
Yeah, or the most points.
Sorry, the most points.
Yeah.
The most points. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he beat Hulkenberg, which is yikes. Yeah, that's interesting. I would say the race for me was a bit lackluster in a way. I thought first we knew what Max was pulling straight from FP1 from the first minute. He came in and he's like, "Let me remind you who I am."
Yeah, it was a revenge pass. Like, he
Huge
was
tour.
like,
He was on it.
You thought I was sleeping last week? You thought wrong.
Yeah. And he even said in the, I think, post-conference interview, he's like, you can all eat an egg.
Yeah.
Oh, he did say that. Yeah.
He was like, remember that.
That was after quali.
Yeah, right after quali.
I'll suck an egg.
I feel like that quali as well, half a second, more than half a second. When was the last time you seen a quali and it was that much of a marathon?
And it wasn't even his cleanest. He made a few errors in the spoon and everything. So it's just crazy. And then you see Checo and you're like, you have this exact same car. Yes, FP1, you had the old floor. We get it. There was a big gap difference. FP2, FP3, qualifying. And then even qualifying, you make an excuse and say, well, I built a car for race pace. And then what happened in the race? It was a complete disaster. You acted like a rookie, which
100%.
pisses
What was the
me
difference
off.
between Perez and Logan Sargent?
Absolutely.
In this race, literally nothing. Literally nothing. But then what was the most surprising moment of this race then?
Oh, you're going to me first.
Yeah.
Surprising. Oh, you know what? Surprising, and maybe this might lead into my disappointment later, so we can come back to it. But it was the George versus Hamilton. That was just surprising at the beginning for the reason that it didn't make sense for them to be fighting each other and wearing out their tires when there was no marginal gain really. There was nobody else they were chasing down. And then at the end, when George was kind of being told to let him go through, and he was kind of having some back chats with his team engineer or mechanic, I just thought the whole thing was odd. I think George is thinking he's the better driver and kind of presenting this narrative that he's a better driver, and he sometimes kind of gets out a better performance from the car in some tracks, but I mean Lewis has many more years and is just much more and people are gonna come in the comments and say, "Oh, you're a Lewis fan." Fine, yes, I am. But like just objectively looking at it, he had a better qualifying result. He was ahead. He had the fresher tires. So that whole thing was just so surprising to me.
Yeah.
Like
No,
the
I agree.
dynamic.
I agree.
The team should have stepped in though, because they were fighting. They wrecked their tires, fighting each other. So
Yeah.
like, I don't know, should George have been allowed to pass by Lewis? And if he didn't get a 2 or 2 second game, pull him back. But they were both in each other's DRS, wearing their tires,
Yeah.
fighting each other. How many laps were we in? And it was already going on.
Yeah, it was
It's like 5 laps.
yeah,
6
right
laps.
after the qualifying. The safety car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you're on mediums. You're going to burn them up if you want to act that game.
Yeah.
It really was a shock. I made no sense. And I was watching Michael and I'm like, what
are they
why?
doing?
What? It's the first 10 laps of this race. What is going on?
Yeah.
It was just frustrating as a viewer.
Yeah, 100%. I think mine would have been Piastri's race pace compared to Norris. Having the same car, yes, you're a rookie and you have that ability to, gain that traction with that car. But being 15, 16 seconds from your teammate, I know it's not getting talked about, but that's a big gap compared to Lando when you're putting that into perspective. So I think there needs to be something where he either has to take that strategy of saying, I think I need to build more of a race pace car instead of trying to outpace my teammate for qualifying. Or that something needs to happen because he needs to go through that data and being like, how's that big of a gap when we're on similar strategies? And even though he even undercut his teammate for that pit early on.
Yeah, but the undercut would mean he'd be on older tires. I think that's why, like, Piastri was saving his tires a little bit, because I remember even hearing the commentary after Lando had gone by, Piastri like bet his time, and then all of a sudden he got called in. So I would like to see the lap or the tire
deltas,
what was going on.
Yeah.
Were you a bit surprised by Liam Lawson fighting Yuki at the start? Like, he got him, like, Lawson had a great start. Yeah. Took Yuki was a little bit desperate trying to fight him back in the opening laps.
It's his home race. He's putting on a show.
I'm not downgrading Yuki.
Yeah.
If I was in Yuki's shoe, I'd be like, this guy just stepped into the seat 3 races. I've been here 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, you'd be elbows out as well.
I think he's taking it personal that he didn't get a seat. And this
Liam,
is his way of
100%.
showing
What they're missing out on.
Yeah.
But isn't that insane that a rookie that hasn't done the preseason testing has come in and after 3 races?
Yeah.
He's on his 4th now.
It's insane.
Yeah. He's performing well. I think he has that same Oscar Piastri effect from last year, the hype and the buzz. And even Oscar Piastri didn't even show it in an F1 car. But Liam Lawson is showing it. 4 races in. Most likely he will be in Qatar, depending on Daniel Ricciardo's, rehab. Yeah. So, and that's just another test of another track that's fun. If he can push that car with the new upgrades that they brought in, man, Liam Lawson, he's definitely going to get a seat. It just depends on when and which team, right? So we'll talk about that too. But let's go back to Feven's point about the most disappointing points of this race. Mercedes was definitely one of them.
Yeah.
What do we do after now? Like, what is the step? Does Toto need to say we need to have a number 1 driver, number 2 team orders every race? To like, what do you think about that?
I don't know. I think like Lewis is definitely ahead in points. I think he's 3rd or 4th. I can check back later, but I think it just goes down to who qualifies better in that in the track. And then like it's all also I think like Lewis was being smart at the end today where he was pushing for the team orders because it was either that and like Lewis had better pace, so it's either he maximizes on points or Sainz will take them out or not take them out or like pass them both. So I think this is where the like having a more mature driver or senior driver is much more should, or I guess maybe favoring the senior driver might be the smartest move because they are able to think like a couple steps ahead, I guess, and have more experience to back it up and have seen more. So I think it's not so much team orders, but I would say go race by race, and like who qualifies better, and then while you're racing, really take the senior driver's opinion.
Yeah.
I don't.
No, I agree. What about you, Mikey? What's the most disappointing part of this race for you?
Aston Martin. Like Alonso was screaming at his engineer, like he was losing speed in the straight. I don't know who he was challenging, but like I think we talked before we even started that. Like if you think back in Montreal, Alonso was like, "We want to fight for podiums. We're not settling. We got to be on that podium. We want more." And from there, they like whatever they're doing, it hasn't worked.
No.
They have gone backwards. They had an issue today with Lance Stroll on the wing. I think he was riding the curbs too much, and the wing was losing its
effectiveness.
pretty much. So a little bit surprising to see that. Now again, there's still fourth in the constructors, and McLaren are chomping at their heels.
Yeah. I think, what's the difference?
Oh, I'll tell you.
I actually think it's like 180 to 220, like it's 40 points.
Oh man.
And if you compare Lance Stroll to Piastri, I'm going to say Piastri's a better driver.
I mean, tenfold.
So going back to 221 for Aston Martin and 172. So really, it's about a 50-point
That's easy
difference.
Yeah.
And we have 6 races to go.
Yeah.
Very doable.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And especially with Lance Stroll, this is like the part that's so like just a question mark for me. The last 5 races, he has like been bottom 5 or I don't know if it was the last 5 races, but the last few races, he's been at the bottom 5, like the bottom. When in contrast to Alonso, who's been maybe top 10, if not higher up on that grid. So I don't know what the team conversations are like. I would love to be a fly on the wall, but there's got to be something that they do, not just on the upgrades, but like team morale or something is just not working.
I mean, it would be interesting. Nothing has been confirmed, and it's all rumors and whatnot. But the technical directives came from a few of the top teams near the beginning of the season having a loophole to these flexi boards and their wings. No, nothing's confirmed. But the only team that took the biggest hit is Aston Martin from the beginning. So does it show that they've taken that FIA hit and they're now working backwards to try to catch up to the grid? And would we even see them progress even farther? Because compared to last year, even the qualifying Alonso put up was slower than Vettel's, right? So it puts that into perspective now. Like, where do we go for here?
Could be a bad upgrade package. You don't know. But if there's only 6 races to go, unless something drastically changes, you'd wonder how drastic could it change.
Yeah. I think that now their focus is probably next year. Right? There's nothing left. But on the good news, Piastri signed a contract extension to 2026 end of year. Do you guys think that's a smart move, or should he have just taken a smaller 2 years or 1 year contract extension?
No, smart move. But it's like if you think of when Lando took that big contract, McLaren were nowhere at that stage. They promised a lot. For Piastri, at the start of the season, they were like bottom feeders. Now they're like fighting at the top. So I think for Piastri, it's a perfect time, perfect opportunity. And he's shown how good he is as well. So
I also think, given the fact how young he is, like he has a lot, he's kind of guaranteeing himself a little bit of a long-term career. He has a few years to figure it out. He'll then, when at 2026, he's really like, kind of come into his own. And so he'll be even more of an attractive, like granted he's still in the sport and everything is going well, that he'll be an attractive get for any other team. So I think it's actually like the safest and like longevity wise, where I think next year is going to be the silliest season ever. I think he's kind of guaranteed himself like a
But it's good,
situation.
it's smart because, sorry to cut you off, but it keeps him out of that messiness.
Exactly.
And he can pretty much like sleep at night knowing I have a secure contract. I need to focus on racing, not being poached by other teams, being like, hey, you only signed a 1 year deal. Do you want to come with us? So definitely he's 100% smart for doing that.
Plus you like get along with, you get to know your team, your mechanics, you really grow into like a rhythm the longer you're working with them. So this is smart, amazing.
I agree. I think it's so smart because even on top of that, what he did was these 2 years, most of these contract extensions are before the 2026 regulation. And what he did was sign an extra year to see McLaren's progression in that year and seeing if they're worth competing. And if they're not, he's free to go to another competitive team. So I think it was so smart.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
That's
most
smart,
teams are signing until 2025 end of year.
Isn't Max Weber his team manager?
He's
been around. He's been around the block. He knows what he's doing.
You wonder Alpine in the background, like, God damn it, he was supposed to be our rookie.
Max, you can come on the podcast and talk us through these deals one day.
Listen, I promise you, but Max Verstappen, I promise you, we will not keep you bored. I know he complained about he hates podcasts.
Oh yeah.
We're a bit offended because I think we're very entertaining.
Yeah.
If we brought him on, there's no way in hell he's sleeping. We'll
You're
bring
his
that
number
hot
one.
sauce.
Well, this hot sauce. Oh no. You know what? There'll be
We'll kill him.
another challenge.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do like an iRacing
Oh, he would enjoy that. You
Yeah,
see
I
that?
see. Like
Actually,
he would enjoy
that.
Yeah.
I know
okay.
Maxwell, guys.
I think
We
so.
gotta set it up. We gotta set it
Can
up.
you text him and just let him know? Like,
Yeah. I'll actually ask Gunther to see if he's around.
get an
To
extra
see if
row.
he knows where he's at.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll ping Chris, Christian Horner.
oh man. But outside of this race weekend, we have another amazing track coming up, Qatar. Since 2021, we haven't raced there where Lewis took that win. What do you anticipate? It's very high speed corners. It's McLaren's and Red Bull's suiting track. Do we think
I don't know. Don't
there's
count out
another
Ferrari.
Oh, you don't know. Ferrari
Yeah.
were good in the high speed. Like,
Yeah, I said don't count them out.
oh, sorry, I just said count them out. And I was like, whoa.
No, I'm saying don't count them
Yeah.
out because they are good in the high speed corners.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see again the McLaren and Ferrari being like the I was gonna say orange, no, yellow and red, or orange and red being up in the podium.
Yeah. No, it's I would say McLaren's it seems like Ferrari, they seem to be fixing their tire degradation even from what we saw today. So if they can maintain that, then yeah, I think they'll have a great battle with McLaren's.
Yeah.
Max, I think, will have another solo race. Checo, I think Zach Brown said it flatly. If it was Checo versus everybody on the grid, Red Bull would be nowhere.
Yeah.
They will be a middle field, which is
No, backfield.
yeah, they'll be probably like, look at this. The last few races, it's a bit disappointing, but we'll have to see what Checo does. Does he
Checo's
bounce
like
back?
playing bump cars.
Mario Kart on a controller.
Like, he was like punting you. No,
God.
not Yuki. It was Magnussen.
Magnussen.
Yeah. Oh
That
my
was wild.
God,
Like what he was thinking there, he
Guys.
wasn't thinking.
It was entertaining.
it was. But like, it would have been more entertaining to see him go from P17 to a fight for podium.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
would have been more entertaining.
You know what we didn't talk about? The resurrection. How crazy
Yeah.
was that to have Checo? Like never in the history has that ever
Happened?
I was asking I'm like, what is happening? What is
Yeah.
going on? Wait, why is he getting back in the car? And even the commentators were just like, I guess this is what we're gonna do now.
Yep.
Because he didn't, the room, like what they were saying was if he didn't serve the 5-second
It would be
penalty,
added on.
because when Sargent had punted Bottas off in the same corner, he'd got a 5-second penalty.
Yes, yeah.
And he served him in the race. When Perez punted Magnussen off, he retired the car. He never served a penalty.
And there was a flag that or notification that was saying that it was under investigation.
An investigation.
Why, yeah.
Yeah. So him retiring prior to their conclusion, he could have taken a grid penalty.
It would have been a good penalty
Good,
because he never
100%.
served that penalty in that race.
But that was just the
Yeah.
like.
Look, leave it up to Red Bull to find the loopholes. Leave it up to them. They
I
will
think-
find the loopholes in the rule
It was
books
so funny.
and get it. And listen, I think it was a smart move. But the funniest part was a cameraman. What he did was to Checo was so dirty.
So dirty.
When Max came in to do his pit stop, the camera was on him,
yeah.
and then
Pits.
Checo was sitting in his car, just casually waiting in his garage, and he just zoomed in on him. Felt like I was on an episode of like The Office, just showing two perspectives. I was like, oh,
yeah.
great cameraman. I love it.
He knew what the fans wanted. That was
100%.
hilarious.
Oh, entertaining. But again, Qatar is going to be a great track. I'm excited. And hopefully we get to see some good action again. And I think it's a night race again, no? Or it might be a day race,
Should
actually.
be.
One or
I think
the
it
other.
is
Yeah.
because it's nighttime for us.
Us again, yeah.
Yeah, I think.
All right, we're going to suffer
Or
again.
maybe it's 4 p.m. Hang on.
Yeah, check.
I think
actually.
it's 4 p.m. I think it's a night rest there. It's an afternoon rest for us.
Okay, yeah, it's
Okay,
later.
yeah,
Not
yeah,
night.
it must
yeah.
be, yeah. Because it's too hot. I wouldn't think they would do it during the day. It's way
No,
too hot.
today's race, what was the track temperature?
The track temperature was 47 degrees.
Yeah.
God
absolutely
damn.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it was
ridiculous.
Better. I prefer that than the monsoon rain we had last year and it
Oh,
being
yeah,
like
yeah.
half a race.
Yeah.
So no, this was entertaining.
Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
glad. Thank you guys so much for tuning to another episode of the Track Limits podcast. And we'll catch you on the next one. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and do all the above. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.